Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Alice in Storyland. It's been a minute since I filmed. Obviously, I changed my hair up and it's
Shocker.
a little different. This is my friend Aud. She's on the show tonight because I'm recording in her house, and she's stuck with me. Really, she's just going to be reacting to the book. She's not really here for a general purpose. If you hear the dogs in the background,
Story
those are
of my
definitely
life,
hers, and there is a cat that's increasingly neater. So just be prepared for some interruptions. As I mentioned in the last one, I was going to do a continuation of Yum, this erotic cookbook I found. It's now actually duct taped together too because it started falling apart, but it's fine.
Which is not unlike my life.
So the wine I picked this evening to pair with Yum, the erotic cookbook, is Fat Bastard wine, because I cannot think of a better one to pair with this. It's a crack. We'll find out if it tastes good, but I'm gonna level with you guys. I was so blitzed for the last episode of Yum that I don't remember the second half of it, but from what I've heard, that's completely fine. So we will continue. That is not good.
Oh. Can confirm, not good.
But it's alcohol, and it is 13.5%.
So it will get you drunk.
That's all we need it for.
That's what we're here for.
All right.
Wow, that's not good.
Let's crack into it. So as you guys remember real quick, I did not read the recipes themselves, but I did read the intro to the recipes. So we'll continue. This is a whole new chapter, starting coming in from the cold. As love lives go, mine was going nowhere fast. Same. At the tender age of 19, I had learned the hard way that not only did love not conquer all, but I was yet to be convinced that it conquered any. Okay, that was a good line. I'm gonna give him that one. My problem was that there simply were too many things that I wasn't. For starters, I wasn't Jewish, which was an insurmountable obstacle for Mr. and Mrs. Kaplan, who gently suggested that it might be better if I didn't see their daughter again. I wasn't Roman Catholic either, which was a cross I was just going to have to bear, according to Mr. and Mrs. Angelucci, both of whom could say the words, "Sorry, Maria isn't home at the moment," and make it sound like, "Burn in hell, you atheist scum." Yes, this is a cookbook. Whatever I wasn't, at least I knew whatever I was. I was an outsider, a misfit, an interloper, an alien. It was like being invited to a really exciting function and then turning up and finding that your name is not on the list. All I needed now was to meet a Greek Orthodox, and it would be 3 strikes and I'm out.
Yee-haw.
I came close. Anna's father was Russian Orthodox, and while I didn't exactly know what a Russian Orthodox did, apart from paint some pretty mean patterns on eggs at Easter time, it didn't seem to matter. He was from Kiev. Did I say that right? Kiev in the Ukraine, and his wife was Polish, and both were inordinately civil to me, except, of course, when Anna first introduced me. They nearly spat out their vodka. Apparently my surname sounds uncannily like a Russian word for stupid. While even the vaguest possibility of their daughter one day becoming Mrs. Stupid probably didn't thrill them, they nevertheless managed to take me in their stride. I couldn't believe it. No dark, meaningful glances, no relentless grilling about my parents and my background and my beliefs. After about 5 weeks came the ultimate compliment. They asked me to come and have dinner with them.
Yeah. I don't know how you're drinking that, but it's fine.
I bought it.
Yeah, okay.
It's alcohol.
Sure is.
Gotta drink it.
Make sure to speak very loudly into this mic.
Am I not speaking loudly enough?
No, you have to speak pretty close to the mic for it to pick up.
So are you going to tell me that all of that was recorded for nothing?
Well, I don't know. Still could be good. Hard to say.
Okay, let's try again. In the course of picking Anna up, I had witnessed a few dinners in the house, and I'm here to tell you that they were miraculous affairs, comprising much of toasting with cherry vodka and enough food to keep the whole Kiev going for weeks. I remembered pots of plump cabbage rolls, known in Ukraine as holubsty. Holubsty? Yes.
Poloski, yeah.
Hol-
I'm making a joke.
Yeah.
Poloski.
Sure. Piping hot and slathered in sour cream. Then there were large, smug boiled dumplings, known as vareniki, overflowing bowls of deeply purple borscht, huge, puffy, deep-fried, meat-filled donut affairs known as piroshki, and gargantuan tureens of stews that you could get lost in for days at a time. But it wasn't the food that got me. It was the gesture. It meant that, at long last, I belonged. For the course of the meal, at least, I would be one of them, and the idea of it made me feel warm and grounded. So when the big night came, and I took my place at the kitchen table surrounded by the inevitable casseroles, tureens, pots, and bowls, I was in a totally euphoric state, my head spinning from delicious aromas and cherry vodka, as I pondered a particularly vexing question, whether to start with cabbage roll or vareniki. But before I had made my final decision, Anna's mother was standing over me holding yet another plate, of contents which I could not see. A little pickled herring, perhaps? Or maybe some golden little blinis, folded with cheese and wrapped up like a folded bedsheet. But no. As the plate descended in front of me like a slow-motion sequence from a B-grade movie, I saw what lay on it, and my smile became a lip-stretching grimace. It contained a large T-bone steak, a few chips, and an egg.
Oof.
Somewhere, a long way away, I heard a door slam shut and the sound of heavy iron bolts being drawn. I can see now that she didn't mean to hurt my feelings. Maybe previous boyfriends of her daughter had said, "I'm not eating that muck," and she didn't want to risk being hurt again. Maybe she genuinely thought she was doing me a favor, that her homely food wasn't good enough for me. Nah. I got to know the family pretty well over the next 10 years. I married Anna. I even lived with them for several years. And eventually my mother-in-law had to feed me as if I were part of the family. Every time I bit into holubsty, or vareniki, I told her how much I enjoyed it. I don't think she ever really believed me. We're going to skip that one, because that's boring.
Give me the nitty-gritty on the Ukrainian borscht.
So the Ukrainian borscht. Forget your well-mannered restaurant borscht with its delicious chicken stock, fine, transparent ruby good looks, and token beetroot cubes. The real thing isn't supposed to tide you over until the main course. It's supposed to tide you over until spring. This is how Mary Bandurka made it, although I have added extra meat for flavor. Well, we're not going to read that.
It's not even sexy.
It's not sexy.
Mad.
When I first ate these with Mary's husband, Makar, he told me quite definitely, that with much pointing, that the name meant little pigeon in Ukrainian. When I asked him why, he laughed and scratched his head, and they said, "They look like pigeons?" We both stared at them hard. I don't think either of us could see the resemblance. The death of the foodie. Nobody knows exactly when he died. Most people agreed that it was sometime towards the end of the 80s. Some days say it was the very same day the great Elaine Chappell passed away. I don't know who Elaine Chappell is.
I don't either. I'm going to be honest.
I'm assuming he's a foodie.
Probably. Should we look it up?
Yes.
Or are we doing it? Elaine Chappell?
Elaine Chappell. L-A-I-N.
Elaine Chappell.
A-L. It's a guy. It's A-L. A-L-A-I-N.
A-L? Oh, like Alan?
Alan with an I.
Interesting. What the fuck?
Give me your phone. You're still spelling it wrong.
Oh, hey, you're spelling it wrong.
No, I'm not. It's A-L.
Alright, here. I'm gonna get another beer.
Please do. I'm gonna keep drinking this wine.
That's
I wish
probably
I was
a good
dead.
idea. I'm gonna drink beer.
Elaine Chappell. He's a French chef. Credited with being one of the originators of the nouvelle cuisine. He earned 3 Michelin stars.
Michelin?
I don't.
The chef? thing?
Yes, he earned 3 stars.
Okay.
I don't know if that... I'm assuming that's good.
I sounds like maybe good.
He was born December 30th, 1997. Died July 10th of 1990. So apparently that was the end of anything good food-wise.
Okay, now we know. We've been informed.
Others... I can't pronounce that name either. Others swear blind that it was on Escoffier's birthday. I don't know who that is either, for the record.
Jesus Christ, are you supposed to know about cooking?
Apparently. Another popular theory that has it that he died on the last day of the truffle season of Périgord, and that he breathed his last breath as the last precious dark jewel changed hands in a nearly deserted market square. Nobody even knows who he was. All we know is that he was the last of the great foodies, and with him died a lifestyle and an appetite the likes of which we may never see again.
Still not sexy.
I'm okay with that. Yet he died unheralded and unsung. There were no reports of his death in the newspapers, no blow-by-blow television coverage, and no long-winded eulogies in the Time magazine. Nobody moved to erect a tomb for the unknown foodie. Erect. Nobody suggested we pause for 3.5 minutes silence, the time of the perfect boiled egg.
Ah, yes.
Each year, so we might reflect silently on his achievements. We simply preferred not to be reminded of his excesses. His death, after all, was not unexpected. Even by the mid-'80s, the foodie was as endangered a species as many of the animals and plants he insisted on eating. I'm be honest, I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm just drinking and I'm like, there's something about food and...
Apparently the foodie is dying.
Can we skip to the sexy part?
No. No, we cannot.
Fuck,
we gotta keep
dude,
going.
I'm not into the foreplay, man. You know? Like, it's just... Get it in. You know?
People had ceased to worship food and were content to merely eat it. I'm not gonna lie, that did happen. There was a time period where that happened.
What happened?
Where people were just happy to eat food and not, like,
remember
actually
when
make
people
good
actually
food?
were like, wow, this is so cool that I can eat.
Here's some tuna casserole.
Oh, man, this is fantastic. Can you imagine? Fucking first world problems over here, good buddy.
No longer do they travel through Europe, flitting around from 3-star restaurant to the next with open mouths and open checkbooks. 'Cause we're broke, bitch!
Broke, bitch.
Clutching souvenired menus like a French crop of scalps.
What? Wait, let me see that. Where's that line? What? Clutching souvenired menus like a fresh crop of scalps. Yo, dude, I'm Native American, so I feel like I can comment on this.
What's your comment? Or is there even one for this?
Yikes is the comment. Yikes. I've got yikes for that one. Fresh yikes.
They became sightseers instead. Yes, because once again, we're broke.
Ass bitches.
Taking the photographs of churches, cathedrals, city skylines, and countryside landscapes instead of plates of... We're not going to try to pronounce that.
God, this is so fucking bougie.
Chocolate marquis and foie gras.
This is like a circle jerk of fucking people who cook. With the fancy words.
The distinctive red Michelin food guides were replaced by green touring variety. They stayed in pensions and holiday inns and paid advanced excursion fares to fly economy. Because we're broke!
Ass bitches.
The memory of days when the choice of airline depended heavily on what brand of champagne it served and first. I have never had champagne on an airline because I'm just glad I'm fucking flying.
I'm like, oh, cool, this is great.
Did my job pay for this flight? Yes, it fucking did.
Oh, that must be nice.
Not when you go to Kansas City.
Oof. Fair.
Oh, there were
or
a few...
Poland.
Or Poland. Oof, that was rough, girl. Oh, there were a few die-hard survivors, people who proudly and defiantly claimed that the microwave was the only good for cooking vegetables, who still called Sauvignon Blanc cat's piss. I gotta get a good Sauvignon Blanc for this show because this Syrah is not cutting it.
It's so bad.
Who still read cookbooks in bed, or they read them for a bad YouTube channel that no one watches.
Well, there we are.
And who boasted loudly that the only things they kept in their freezers were chicken stock, ice cubes, and vodka. To be fair, that's what mine looks like.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Most foodies had gone underground, buying caviar in brown paper bags from mates.
Oh, like, what is this, the
That's
Underground
so
Railroad,
sketchy.
dude?
I'm not buying caviar.
Underground Railroad of foodies? Like, what kind of bullshit is this?
And trading truffles in small airless rooms with lamps low and blinds drawn. That's how you get killed.
Okay, well, first of all, this is how you die.
Luxuries like lobster were regulated to special occasions only, like Christmas Day and Paul Bocuse's birthday. Yet another guy I don't know.
They're just like dropping names left and right. They're just making them up at this point, man. They're like, yo, we're just gonna do a circle jerk of only chef shit.
Some, like heroes of Ray Bradbury's novel Fahrenheit 451, dedicated themselves to memorizing nouvelle cuisine cookbooks page by page, so their contents would never be totally lost to mankind. But they should have realized that they didn't have a chance. The foodies have been replaced by the foodists. Like nudists.
Like the elitists of foodies?
A new breed of sensitive new age consumer knowledge.
Okay. Are these the vegans?
Sensitive new age consumer knowledge.
Are these
SNACK.
Okay, so wait, hold on a minute. Are these liberal vegans of America?
No, it's called snack. That's literally what
No, girl, that's you. You with the snack.
Who can tell the merest flick of their food value calculator the vitamin, mineral, and kilojoule content of every morsel they place in their mouths. They buy bran in bulk, eat breakfast every day, and confine drinking to the evening meal. Well, that's boring.
First of all,
they eat so many pulses and grains that they are rarely far from public convenience. Worse, they're slim, clear-skinned, and ruddy-cheeked.
Oh, so they're white people.
How can you be clear-skinned and ruddy-cheeked?
White people.
That doesn't even qualify for white people.
Well, you know, white people, they stay out of the sun, so their skin's like somewhat transparent.
Clear-skinned and ruddy-cheeked?
Yeah, like
ruddy
red.
is mottled.
Red.
Yeah, it's not clear.
Like red because red's blood. And
Ruddy is the wrong word for this.
Ruddy?
Ruddied.
Oh, like blushed?
Like mottled blush.
Oh, weird.
So clear skin and ruddy does not fit together.
I'm telling you, this guy just wrote this book and was literally like, how can I make this sound as bougie as possible?
Pretentious.
So pretentious. Oh, it's making me violently ill.
Every year on the first day of autumn, that finest of foodie seasons with its treasury of mushrooms and game, I visit a small unmarked grave in a quiet little cemetery on the outskirts of town and silently pay my respects.
He's stroking his dick right now.
Once again, that day has arrived. When I awake, it is still dark, and I am filled with a peaceful contentment only devout believers will ever know. This guy makes me want to die. Like,
this guy's the worst.
Can't. There's
Holy
not enough
shit.
bad wine in the world to make up for what this is doing to me.
I don't think I could drink as much Miller High Life as possible to reach like a level of inebriation where this is at all poetic. Again, it's just coming off as a circle jerk to me.
It gets worse.
No.
I slip into my Savoy Hotel monogrammed white toweling robe and prepare Michael Gerard's oeufs pour caviar. I did not say that right.
Excuse me?
Gets worse. And Raymond Blanc's Musette de Salmon Fumé.
Oh, cool. So if you have French as a second language, this book's for you.
For toast, I cut off 2 thick slices of dusty, nutty pain poulain, smuggled in by a fresh from Paris. Such a repast demands a 1980 Krug Claus de Mensil champagne, sipped from the finest Lalique cherubim glasses, followed by freshly roasted Blue Mountain coffee from Jamaica.
Oh, Jesus Christ,
prepared
superstar.
in my trusty canary yellow Baby Gaggia espresso machine.
There's a lot of circle jerking happening right here, bud.
It is a breakfast fit for a foodie, and I eat it slowly, reflecting on the passionless, obsessionless modern world.
This is not sexy.
Are we really better off without excess? Have we lost the art of stretching the boundaries of our lives, having the courage to take a craving all the way?
Stretching and craving can be fun, but...
Risking life and limb in search of new experiences or recapturing precious old ones?
Oh, God.
God, can I breathe throughout the sentences, please? Like,
no.
The whole paragraph is one sentence.
Yeah, I just can't.
There's a special creativity in searching for flavors, in making the most of what one has, in seeking the essence of things. It is the life of the artist, the criminal, the explorer, the slightly insane.
Oh, fuck off.
To devote one's life to the pleasures of eating. It's romantic, for God's sake.
Is it, though?
How are you married?
Right.
Did she
Is this guy
divorce him?
married?
Yes, we covered that. He got married to Anna. Did
Oh,
Anna
right.
divorce
He
him?
did marry Anna,
God,
but
I hope Anna
I
left
hope
his
Anna
ass.
left him.
Where is the passion in muesli?
Oh my god.
I like muesli. I realize I haven't felt that inner peace, that vital sense of aliveness I used to feel after a great meal, for years. Since I was a foodie. My inner child hasn't been fed, hugged, and spoiled.
This is like
rotten.
how I talk about my Steam Kid era. But less douchey.
I've been a boring, responsible adult, a ghost of children past trapped in a grown-up body.
What?
No child.
Are we talking about trauma now? Wait, hold on. What was the line?
Oh,
a
gets
ghost
better.
of what?
A children past trapped in a grown-up body. I'm gonna be honest with you. A child is not eating all this fancy ass shit.
Also,
that
a
he's eating.
child's not like jerking off to fucking food verbiage. Holy shit.
Food is not the enemy. I have never once thought food was the enemy.
Not even one time in my life. I've been so good about that like with my body, with how I eat, I've really shown my work.
Food is not the enemy. Cold logic and reason are.
Okay, but this guy's literally the definition of cold logic
We
and reason.
need to be happy on the inside before we can be happy on the outside.
Oh.
The words echo inside
God.
of me like bells in a graveyard church.
Oh, holy fuck.
God, the metaphors and the similes,
guy, he's
y'all.
he's like the emo kid who wrote you poetry in fucking high school, but you kind of thought it was somewhat charming at the time.
God, I had one of those.
Yeah, so did I. Actually, I almost married that dude.
Oh, I ran far and fast.
Well, you were smarter than I was.
Yes, I was. Better to be hated for who you are than loved for who you are not.
Oh, come on!
Then I sigh and change into my suitably chocolate brown suit, complimented by my Yves Saint Laurent teacup tie, and drive to the cemetery.
Hey, I have a question. Do you think this guy is the kind of guy who he involves food in the sexual act?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You missed his description of the taste buds. I'm gonna make
I
you
feel
watch
like
that
this
episode.
guy probably puts all kinds of food on the body.
I'm gonna make you watch that episode.
He
next.
makes women eat oysters before he fucks them.
For the
100%.
record, Audrey hasn't seen the first part of this. She's just reacting
Can
off
confirm. This is
blind
pure
base.
reaction.
So she's obviously
Holy
gonna have
fuck.
to watch the first segment of this book once we're done here.
This ain't it, Chief.
I pull up near the grave just as dawn is breaking. A sad, teary mist hangs
Twilight?
heavily over the graveyard. The air is heavy with a silence as thick as oatmeal.
Dude, it's like that fucking girl. You thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Dude, he tried to make it fucking poetic and romantic. This is
And it's
fucking
just
impressive
not.
work. Holy shit.
Even the birds are strangely quiet, as if respectfully observing the solemnity of the occasion. With a deep sigh and a heavy heart, I gather up a large, colorful herb posy from the back of the car and walk up a grassy hill towards the grave, thinking about the way of breaking bread together.
Breaking Dawn. That's the name of that book.
Makes friends of strangers. How good food can heal all wounds and turn war into peace. And how good wine can turn a dull clod into a poet.
Like this fucking book. Holy shit.
How much wine do you think he consumed? Because he already said he was drinking
Look, I
champagne
don't know,
before this
man, but
shit.
I'm gonna need more alcohol to even tolerate the rest of this. Holy shit. My dog's being insane. Should we let them in? Yeah, I'll let the dogs in.
Whew.
My future husband's in the background. I just met him today.
I find myself repeating the same word over and over, like a mantra. Butter, butter, butter,
Lard.
butter.
Lard.
Slowly, I place the posy at the foot of the grave. That's when I see it.
Did he put butter at the grave?
No, it was just a posy.
Be a lot cooler if it was butter.
It gets better.
No.
It sits on a silver
Is
platter
it-
that winks and shimmers in the first day's sun.
Is it better than butter?
Okay, probably not, but... It is a flawless roulade, a vegetable terrine, pretty rows of haricot verts, petit pois, artichokes, baby carrots set in a farce of ham lined with vine leaves. I don't think that's the right word either.
Holy shit.
I haven't seen a terrine de légumes Olympe since Jean and Michael
Dude, all I know is that this
Troygois
shit is making me limp.
proudly plated it in 1984. Next to it is a whole another platter bearing a magnificent fish and kraut in the style of Bocuse legendary dish. As I look around, I notice more offerings. Vintage wines, jars of preserved truffles, perfectly poached pears. Over there is Gerard's tarte vaudois à la crème.
Sorry, I just had a stroke.
Me too. Chapelle's terrine de foie gras de au dans grace sits right next to Maximin's.
I only know about Dave Chappelle. I'm not
Really?
sure about
Negresco.
Is it a chapeau? Is it like a hat? Because that's hat in French. I'm not real sure what.
I'm pretty sure I pronounced that
I
wrong.
fucking can't.
With hope welling in my breast, I turn and walk back to my car.
Hope welling in my breast too. Holy fuck.
My emotions mix it as a mescaline. I don't feel alone anymore. God damn, I wish you did.
Dude! She said, I wish he did.
They are out there in silence, behind closed pantry doors. Like, this is like being in the closet, but so much worse.
This is like that song. This is the being in the closet song.
Yeah, but so much worse.
But so much worse! Dude!
Just
It's
waiting,
crazy.
just waiting for this politically correct, nutritionally balanced, and economically challenged era to be over.
Oh my god! Is this a Trump supporter, or...
I look down. I notice a mushroom growing in the glass.
I look
And
down. I
grass
notice
growing
that there is health care available for all people.
No, because then he wouldn't do what he does next. I look down. I notice a mushroom growing in the grass. I pick it up and examine it. It couldn't be, but it is. It is a large, perfect morel. More than that, it is a sign. I very carefully place it in my jacket pocket and get in the car. Then we have the omelette with fresh morels. After all that, there is one one recipe.
All right, well, I'm gonna go get more beer.
Yeah, you're gonna go ahead
I'm
and
on
grab more
beer
beer.
5, or I'm not
going-
real sure at this point.
I'm going to read the rest of this little section because there's not much to it, and then we can stop.
or do you want me to come back?
You can come back. So I'm gonna read this next little section. It's called
Hey, I'm in love with the stranger.
"It's My Esophagus, and I'll cry if I want to." This is the picture, just so you all know what I'm dealing with. Hello, dogs everywhere. Very strange phenomenon number 1. I can't swallow.
Well,
At first,
seen that porn.
I thought it was God's way of punishing me for eating airline food.
Sexual shame.
Oh, from eating airline food. Weren't you just bragging about your airlines, my dude?
Yo, he picked a mushroom out of the ground and he was like, man, this is a sign. So what do you think that... I mean, honestly.
I should have known better than to eat the gray beef and matching gravy, but give me a break. Why would you...
First of all...
I had skipped breakfast and looked like missing anything edible for lunch.
Come and see.
So I put...
Up. Hey, Tails. Tails and Sonic,
We're
let's
getting
go.
situated.
Fuck me. Lay down.
Okay.
You, sit. Hey. Sits. Good boy. Yep. Sorry.
He's just in the background, his little head.
It's perfect, honestly.
I had skipped breakfast and looked like missing anything edible for lunch. So I placed my taste buds on hold and put the first piece of beef in my mouth.
This sounds like my anxiety, but okay.
It was also my last. We're gonna pour some more wine before I continue
Still
this.
sounds like my anxiety.
I am. If I don't finish this wine by the time we're done here, we are pouring this down the drain because I cannot.
It's so bad. But you're almost done. I'm actually thoroughly impressed.
I'm an alcoholic.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about that on stream.
I try to swallow, but it stops somewhere between my tonsils and my esophagus.
I know a few girls like that.
It was not even a particularly large piece of meat, yet it wouldn't budge. I felt like the boa constrictor in Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince, who consumed an entire elephant in one go. It remained clearly outlined within the boa's skin. So, it felt, did this. No problem, I thought. Everything that goes down must go down. Not exactly a desirable thought to have in an airplane. I picked up my glass of water and took a very long gulp. A very strange phenomenon number 2 happened. I felt my throat fill up like a chemistry laboratory beaker. As it reached my tonsils, air supply shut down. I was literally drowning in a glass of water.
Never sucked a dick, but it's fine.
Panic set in. Somehow, I had to get to the toilet, but I was trapped in the middle of 3 seats with a complete stranger between me and the aisle. As he lifted a piece of gray meat to his mouth, I vigorously tapped his arm. He must have caught the terror in my eyes, because he didn't argue, just quickly picked up his tray, lifted his tray table, and leapt up. So did I. When I expelled the water into the toilet bowl, air came rushing into me like the first blast from the rather fierce air conditioner in my car. God, the simile, like, dude, you don't need this many descriptions.
This guy is like...
I think it was Stephen King that said, cut out everything but 10% of what you write, and clearly this man did not follow the rules.
This guy's on so many fucking... He's on the alcohol and he's on the drugs, clearly.
But the meat was still there. I could neither eat or drink anything until that evening, when suddenly, for no apparent reason, it decided to complete its downward journey to my stomach.
Uh-oh.
Later that night, my wife Jill... Anna left his ass.
Oh, Anna left his ass! Got him! Cheers to that. Good job, Anna.
Go,
Good
Anna!
job, Anna.
You survived, bitch!
Yeah, she's a survivor.
My wife Jill and I gave each other lessons in the Heimlich maneuver, a life-saving subdiaphragmatic thrust developed by a certain Dr. Henry Heimlich in 1974. She tried to take my mind off things as she read the instructions. Over 3,000 Americans die a year by choking, she said.
I bet they fucking do.
Thank you, my darling, I replied.
No, it's more like thank you, daddy, but...
Are you really gonna call...
No, this guy, no, but I'm just saying, if that many adults are dying from choking, I feel like... Well, to be fair, I wouldn't mind going out that way, but... Anyways.
This was my mistake, everybody. I'm sorry.
For letting me join you? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
I love you.
It's fine.
A recent survey found that 55 out of 56 restaurant deaths were caused by choking, with only one being a heart attack. Well, I'm glad she clarified what that last one was, because I was really gonna ask.
Yeah, I was curious.
It was nice knowing you, I said, grabbing the instructions. Now make a fist and place it on my stomach. She did. Take your fist with your other hand and thrust it sharply into my abdomen, as if... I collapsed breathlessly to the floor. The 55 out of 56 deaths were obviously caused by an over-conscientious application of the Heimlich maneuver. As was, no doubt, the heart attack. In the ensuing weeks, she had plenty of opportunities to hone her technique, as my little problem occurred at increasingly frequent intervals. Dude, go to the doctor.
Yeah, fucking
You can afford
out.
it. You've already clarified that you can afford to go to the doctor.
So bougie. Like, he probably spends like $150 on dinner. Like, this was nothing to him.
It wasn't just airline food, it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner food. The Heimlich maneuver had no effect whatsoever, and invariably, the offending object would glide away into oblivion at later stage. This went on for about 4 or 5 months before I willed myself to do something about it.
That sounds like my depression.
More than anything, I was embarrassed. A full-time practicing restaurant critic who can't swallow is about as useful as a film critic who can't see. After asking for a list of suitable restaurants for an upcoming birthday dinner, my doctor sent me to a throat specialist who put me in a hospital, ran a camera down my gullet, and concluded that I did not have a problem. Well, that sounds about right.
Sounds like he's a little bitch.
After requesting a suitable restaurant for an impending wedding anniversary, he sent me on my way. It was nice to know that there was nothing wrong, and I used this thought to comfort me every time something stuck in my throat, which was now happening roughly once a day.
Well, yeah, I mean, with all the dick.
It wasn't that big. It wasn't big bad things like a piece of steak anymore either.
Well, it was big meat.
A prawn could do it. So could a piece of bread. Once even I got a lettuce leaf stuck.
Good job.
A lettuce leaf. I would have been scared had I thought there was anything wrong with me. As the years passed, I discovered that as I chewed lots and drank copious amounts of water after every mouthful of food, I could keep things moving reasonably well. Apart from the slight sloshing sound I made when I walked, I was able to lead a relatively normal life. Scary, but... like the time I was trapped in a 4-hour tea ceremony in Japan, eating 29 different courses, with only a small, flat saucerful of sake to drink. To leave even a scrap of food on one's plate was regarded as the vilest of insults, so I pressed on regardless. Being seen as rude seemed far more daunting than being seen as dead. I mean, fair. Did you hear him?
No.
So he's in a tea ceremony, and you have to eat everything, and they only give you a small glass of sake. And he's like, oh crap, because he's got the swallowing problem. But he says, being seen as rude seemed far more daunting than being seen as dead.
Wow. We're really getting a lot of clarity on where this guy's priorities land.
I feel that, though. I would rather be seen as dead than rude.
Well, I feel like that's not true, because I know how you are as a barber, but...
I'm not that mean. I'm not, really.
She is that mean. What did you say to him the other day?
You mean last night?
Yeah, last night.
In spite of all my water guzzling, the problem steadily worsened. Jill grew to dislike my habit of throwing down cutlery and rushing off to inspect the porcelain at every restaurant, bar, and cafe in town. She covered me with friends and business colleagues as I spent more and more time in bathrooms and toilets, hiding her anxiety, but not always her annoyance. Fair. Not a few chefs wondered what was wrong with their succulent roast duck, as it came back from my table only slightly nibbled at. Once, while eating a bowl of noodle soup in a neighborhood Vietnamese restaurant, I heard my name whispered at a table for 8 next to me. It's always nice to know that I'm not the only one who reads my reviews. He reads his own reviews, guys. I don't rewatch these videos after making them.
This guy definitely...
You're just stuck with them.
I'm
this guy reads his own
reviews.
reviews.
This guy jerks off to this shit, I'm telling you.
He reads his own fucking reviews. I soon forgot all about it when disaster yet struck again. I rushed to the toilet, my personal laboratory beaker full, and gratefully expelled the liquid without even pausing to close the cubicle door. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed one of the young men from the nearest table. He stopped frozen in his tracks as he saw me leaning over the toilet bowl. He either figured I was bulimic, unlikely with my figure, or that it was something I ate.
Did you say unlikely with his...
Yes, because he was like...
Unlikely with my figure.
He either figured I was a bulimic, unlikely with my figure.
Wow, okay, well...
Or that it was something I ate. Capitalized. All that's capitalized.
Wow, of course that is. Really
Either
impressive.
way, he was out of there in a flash. By the time I returned to the dining room, the table for 8 was deserted, and Jill was hiding her anxiety under her usual veil of annoyance. No, she's just annoyed with you, my dude.
Who wouldn't be, really?
Before I emptied out half the restaurants in town and lost custody of the family walk, I figured it was time to take action. Another doctor, another specialist, another tracheoscopy, another restaurant recommendation. Still, the specialists were happy to report that nothing appeared to be wrong. Another year went by, looking at ham sandwiches and wondering if I was going to end up like Mama Cass. Then came my Waterloo, as if I hadn't seen enough of both water and lose. This guy really thinks he's clever.
I mean, he really does.
The Battle of Pai Guat, a morsel from this usually tender yum cha dish of deeply steamed pork, spare ribs, stopped somewhere near my heart. 4 hours later, nothing. By dinner, there was also no movement. For 36 hours, I could not eat or drink a single thing. What was this? Something from the X-Files had taken over my body?
Oh, dear Lord, shut the fuck
hell.
up.
Not cancer. I had just moved into a new neighborhood with a doctor's surgery at the end of the street. I ran.
Oh, so
I have something caught in my throat, I said.
God.
I think not, said the gently spoken Malaysian-born doctor,
Thank God.
having pushed and prodded his way through a lengthy examination.
I bet he did.
Within hours, I was sitting on the office of one of the finest gastroenterologists. He explained as if to a child how the release of excess acid from the lower stomach can cause a stricture of the lower part of the esophagus, which can dramatically narrow the opening. We'll know after the marshmallow test.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
The marshmallow test?
Yeah, I've got questions.
The following day, I'm laying down on a radiologist's mammoth x-ray machine while eating a large marshmallow while watching its progress on the television screen.
This sounds... I'm going to say it. It sounds homoerotic, and it's fine, but it sounds homoerotic. I have nothing against that, but it's homoerotic.
It just sounds really stupid. But I guess whatever works.
It's homoerotic.
Sure enough, when it hits the lower part of my esophagus, it stops, only to dissolve very gradually, and eventually pass through, like sheep having to reduce to a single file to get through the narrow gateway. Bingo, says the radiologist, which is hard to say with one's mouth full of marshmallows.
But he's got plenty of experience, so...
He walks out of the room, his hand diving into the rest of the packet. Got any more marshmallows? Asked the patient, but he is ignored, as patients are. 3 days later, I am on the operating table with a wire threaded through my insides. A small tapering device is threaded onto the wire and sent down the esophagus, where it gently stretches open the restricted section. I'll be honest, guys, I am so not a surgery person that if anything like this happens to me, just let me die. Flat out. Don't let me go through surgery.
Yo, catch me with that DNR on that one.
Real quick.
Hard
I feel
pass.
like a cyber spy, being programmed with vital data. I also feel like a marshmallow. The wire could kink, you know,
I
said
feel
the
like a
specialist.
marshmallow daily.
Don't you hate those people who like to tell you everything about what you're going through? I don't particularly care about dying by this stage. I'm in the middle of a strange anesthetized dream in which Mama Cass has a bit of part. And that's it. 6 days of mashed potatoes, risotto, and soup and pasta later, and I am ready for anything. 6 weeks later, and I burst into my specialist's office with a copy of my latest cover story, a comparative study of 6 of the best steakhouses.
Great.
He nodded gravely and asks me if I know a good seafood restaurant.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I quit.
Are we done?
We're done because I can't.
Fuck, it's been so bad.
We're gonna try a different thing next recording session.
Can we do a romance novel next?
No, it's called. Well, yes, but also no. We're gonna go over 50 Shades of Grey.
Is it sheds or
It's
shades?
sheds. It's specifically 50 sheds
Wait,
of
hold on a
grey.
minute. Is this the farmer's only equivalent of 50 Shades of Grey?
I'll read it to you later.
Holy shit, I'm in.
So 50 Shades of Grey is next. If y'all have a good gardening, tree
Hey, do you
themed
remember that-
line, let me know. But thanks for dealing with us. Well, once again, this is odd. Thanks for having her on the show. We love you.
Thanks for ignoring my bullshit. Hopefully you can't hear it with this mic, so.
I've already tested it. They can. So, good luck to this episode. I doubt y'all are going to listen all the way through, but thank you anyway.
It sure is an adventure, though.
It's an adventure, and it's a shit show.
Yeah.
But thank you, guys. I'm going to pour the rest of this wine down the sink and get myself some good wine.
Yep.
And I love you. See you later. Bye.